And looking forward to see some great action. The players are still warming up their serves, maybe a few returns.
Yeah, we got Russ just jumped up in the chair, so they'll be starting shortly. On the far side of your screen in the red hoodie, it's Daniel Levine. He is on the ad side, and then his partner, Jay Woldenberg, in the blue with the hat and headband combo. On the side closest to us, Mr. Paul Rose on the right-hand side with the glasses and the hat, and his partner, Ben McKnight, in that navy vest. Yeah, this will be an interesting match. We saw earlier, they were playing just outside the booth here, Levine and Woldenberg, a close three-setter against the number 3 seed of, was it Dan Murphy and
Burns.
and the Big Tuna, they call him. Tom Murphy, sorry. What did I say, Dan? I've been doing that all day. Shout out to Dan Murphy out there. I'm sure he's listening too. But they had, I think it was a third set tiebreaker, so.
Yeah, took out the 3rd seed, and from my understanding, is this Jay Woldenberg's debut on live stream?
It is. It is. So I'm sure he's got.
Little birdie told me that. So
his game plan, his whole family is, I'm sure, watching. His extended fan base. Jay's been around the paddle scene in Chicago for years, and great player. I think Daniel is the least experienced, but they're teammates at Glenborough Racket Club. They play on the same Series 1 team. And then playing out of the Glenview Club, both Rose brothers and Ben McKnight.
the sun has dropped, so it will no longer be a factor. But I'm looking forward to seeing that other viewpoint, because you can kind of see the sun setting with the other, there you go. Look at how pretty that is, Mike. Are you kidding me?
I mean, it's like postcard.
I mean.
It's a postcard.
Yep. Find your beach.
There we go.
Here we are. All right, so Mike, who do you are you predicting?
What are
you thinking?
We've got boatloads of experience from McKnight and Rose.
Yeah.
This is the second Rose brother that Ben McKnight has played with. And I would have to say that's the pick 'em. Vegas is going to pick McKnight and Rose. I think it'll be a long match. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes 2.5 hours. What you'll see out of him, what you can expect. Ben McKnight has got a great two-handed backhand, will really shade the corner and almost bait you to go into his corner, and he'll play very heavy to the middle. The Rose brothers, both Rose brothers, are known for their two-handed backhands as well, but Paul brings a great slash overhead. Very dynamic movement at the net, really solid forehand. And, Jay is what I'd say the type of player that he's a very tough out. Kind of somewhat quirky on the court, the way that he plays, but very smart player. I'd expect that he's going to be coaching up Daniel immensely.
Yeah.
He loves to have kind of those meetings on the mound, so to speak. But this will be fun.
I like it. All right, it looks like Jay Woldenberg is taking us out, serving in the blue, and returning is Paul Rose. Looking forward to seeing the action here. I don't believe these four have met. I was looking, at least in a tournament.
Yeah,
perhaps
it
in
wouldn't surprise me.
Perhaps in league, the men's league, but I always think that's exciting. You're kind of figuring out a team for the first time.
Yeah, there isn't a whole lot of, I don't think there's a whole lot of, there won't be a whole lot of surprises, but all four players are from Chicago area, so, if they haven't played together or against each other, I'd be surprised.
Yeah. Good take by Daniel. I like that.
And I wouldn't call misses like that unforced errors. I mean, Ben was, had the right ball. I just kind of more of an execution error going for that cut drop shot.
Yep. See, he didn't look 100% balanced when he was striking that ball. I have a tendency to look at the feet of the players at the net when they're stepping.
How was his balance there?
His balance, he was stepping in, his shoulders were forward, yep. And as a result, the execution was there. It's kind of direct correlation. It is one shot, Mike, I wish I had, was the cutter.
Well, I'm sure you could
Do you have one?
maybe get.
Do you sprinkle that in?
Unfortunately, too often.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because nobody wants to play with you because you're just too good at it.
No, unfortunately, I miss too often.
That was a phenomenal. You mentioned McKnight's just low trajectory overhead there, that cut overhead, that bounced on the snowboard. He made contact so low. Really nice overhead.
And there's some, the tennis pedigrees of the players on the court. Daniel Levine, he played at Carnegie Mellon. He's a local guy from Highland Park here. Jay Woldenberg, I believe, played University of Chicago. Rose played, he was a Boilermaker, I believe. And believe it or not, Ben McKnight was a soccer player at Georgetown.
Such a cool story. You just telling me about that.
Yeah, and he beat out Allen Iverson for Athlete of the Year at Georgetown as a soccer player.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, I'd say that's almost sacrilegious if you were, a great basketball school at Georgetown.
That's super cool. I love the first game, first deuce. Again, some longer points we'd like to see. Kind of get in your groove, find your rhythm, and then start strategizing what's working, what's not. See, it's just so good.
Yeah, and you'll see the same overhead from Rose. He can, and it must be something in the water at Glenview Club because they both hit it really well. And what makes it so difficult is even if you get to it, you're playing it from below your knees.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Does that mean if we go drink the water at Glenview, we can have that shot?
I think
Mike?
so. I think so.
That's where I'm going right
There
after
you go.
this.
Either that or the steak sandwiches that they serve up after matches.
Now you're making me hungry. Not okay. Especially if you think this could be a 3-hour match.
Well, there's a game to McKnight and Rose. They go up 1-love.
All right, right out of the gates, breaking Jay Waldenberg's serve. And it looks like Ben McKnight will be taking us out for the second game. I know Ben does a lot with the junior paddle, developing the program and running tournaments last year. I know he's super involved and passionate about, growing the sport, starting from the littles on.
Good organic growth.
Yep. Get him involved in loving the game. You get a child to love anything. That's a win because that's gonna be a part of them the rest of their life. Can he does he notice his footwork there? He kind of stepped back a little bit.
You ought to teach this game, Denise. You ever thought about that?
It's a great idea, Mike. It's a great lob. Yeah, those those low carve overheads are definitely, I mean, we're only in, we've played how many points, and I think 3 or 4 have ended on that overhead.
And I think, that what makes it so, not only when it does get hit that low and through that middle panel, but from the same setup, they can also hit the cut dropper. So,
Yeah.
You kind of are frozen as a receiver of it. It freezes you, and then you have to, rather than having any sort of anticipation, you have to basically be reactive rather than anticipating it. And
Yeah. Yeah, being in reactive mode is not fun. Just feel like everything's rushed, I feel like.
And I'm anxious to see kind of what type of game plan that Woldenberg will have kind of brought up for this match, and see, because he is definitely the strategy guy on this team. He generally has a plan every time I've ever played with him or against him. He's got a very concrete plan of how he wants to play. And he's an extremely, extremely smart. And so as this match gets further and further along, I want to see what kind of kernels of wisdom he can.
Mm-hmm. To that point, Mike, who do you think is more of the leader on McKnight, Rose? Or is it kind of a shared responsibility?
That's it. I think at this point it might be a shared responsibility.
Yeah.
It's a great angle to be paying attention to the positioning at the net. Jay wants somebody to come check that screen. I think.
Attention on the screen.
Yeah.
It is interesting, though, that it's like in the warm-up, I'm always telling my ladies, like, you got to let some balls go to the screen because every club, the tension's different.
Yeah, yeah.
All kidding aside, it's like, some clubs it's so tight and the ball's flying out, and other clubs it's like, what the heck? It just seems to absorb and stick to the screen because they're so soft.
Did you see Ben's two-handed forehand there? I mean, and part of, I think if you were, developing a strategy and you were to say, well, Mike, how would you play against Rose and McKnight? Really look to avoid the backhand of Rose and McKnight and really define the dump zone as being to Ben McKnight's forehand. And, one of the big keys is, as soon as you make a mistake and leave the ball short to either backhand, you're going to be paying for it.
Yeah. Daniel Levine's little underhand serve. That's something. Talk about, the evolution of the game, Mike. We were talking about that in the previous live stream, but that's something that was not around. That is just catching on like wildfire.
It's almost I'd say kind of reached the peak, and we're on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Adam Morgan, I think one of the early adapters, he's still holding on to that, and he hits it as well as anybody. And I mean, the whole idea behind it is that the strike point, the contact point of the returner is a lot lower. It's it's more difficult to really tattoo.
Mm-hmm. It's a great talk about that backhand, two-handed backhand of McKnight. Yeah, you certainly don't get the same trajectory of return or drive when you're hitting from below the level of the net, as opposed to the down-up overheads. You could just clothesline that.
You know, and I'd love to see Levine work that. I mean, I know from experience that trying to beat McKnight to the side screen with a kick serve it's a losing proposition a good portion of the time. And it's almost counterintuitive to say just lay that thing into the tee and let him drive it with his forehand, but, you know, it's the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a tough break there for Levine and Waldenberg to be up 45 and a couple faults later.
I mean, Paul Rose, that last point, it's like the Terminator.
That's a two-handed
just keeps
clinic.
Coming.
Yeah.
He just keeps walking forward. It's like that scene. I don't know.
The Terminator.
He just keeps walking. Anyway, all right, 3-0, McKnight, Rose in the lead. We've got Paul Rose to serve, Jay Woldenberg returning. Here from the Birchwood Club in Highland Park, Illinois. Again, McKnight Rose just seem to be working that ad side, and when they need to, they just dump to Jay's backhand or that middle panel. Wow, another great carve overhead, just so low, but Daniel got that one back. Oof. Oh, wow. Great point. Really good digs by all four men. If that ball had a little bit more on it, Mike, he could have run back and got it, but Levine was hopeful, but.
Yeah, either a little more pace or a little more temperature, so the ball's got a little more jump to it. Good get from Waldenberg.
Jeez, to your point.
Enough. Yeah.
It's the same setup. He either goes big and low or just turns that right into a cutter. Talk about keeping your baseline team off balance.
You know, and Rose, he used to be a bit of a tell when he would hit that. He would drop his right elbow. Another great cutter from McKnight there. They're putting on a cutter clinic here.
I always, this is the classic, you know, Mike, which I'm sure you received the same, is like, okay, well, how do I get the cutter back or how do I get the waterfall back? I'm like, actually, we're going to start on the lobs because they can't hit those shots if you hit a quality lob.
It's easier said than done. We're off to a 4-love lead here for McKnight and Rose.
Yeah. It's a great volley by Woldenberg there.
Boy, that's
Good
good
hustle.
move. How do you protect against the blitz like that? If you're teaching your players?
Yeah. You know what? It's just tough. To me, honestly, it depends. If I am the person cross court, I might just hold my ground and my partner back up because it's always easier to field the ball down the line if they're going to hit it hard, especially blitzers that pound the ball. But it's really just, I would start doing different formations and then you know, which might lead you back. If the one thing that's hurting you, which this isn't the case here, but, you know, some teams are just blitzing central and you just can't seem to come up for air because there's always in your face. Just go to back. Like, that totally takes away the blitz. There's no more pressure.
Well, and if
I mean, there's steps before that,
right.
but, you know, when in doubt.
Well, you know, and you notice when McKnight blitzed there, it was off of a lob.
Yeah.
And Jay got caught watching Daniel hit
Yes.
the overhead, and then lo and behold, Daniel's got to worry about hitting the overhead. Well, Jay's really got to be watching.
Yes, to call
and
it. For the partner.
vocalizing, you know, the blitz is coming, and then Levine should just kind of smoke that overhead with some pace.
Yep. Add a little pepper. Oh, that's tough.
I mean, McKnight isn't that fast. I think Levine tried to make it a perfect one.
All right, a little word from our sponsor, Volley. Looking to lower your PTI? The secret's out. Early adopters are already leveling up with Volley's AI-powered trainers, and they're leaving the competition behind. Don't get left in the dust. Download Volley now at www.getvolley.com or search Volley Racket in your app store. We've got the Volley machine at Skokie. Mike and we were talking earlier, but boy, it's really helped out our membership quite a bit. And it's surprisingly easy to navigate because I am not a techie. And if I'm able to figure it out and to do it with ease, literally anybody could.
I concur. You know, using the phone and the web, the app is very intuitive.
It's a good move by Levine, just continuing to follow that up. Talk about quiet hands. His feet don't stop moving. Really nice.
See if Waldenberg and Levine can stop the bleeding here up at 30 love.
I mean, they're definitely doing a better job with the lobs. You can see their feet are tracking, at least at the service line, at least 1 foot. Oh, wow. Okay. He was just inside the service line.
Yeah, that was impressive.
I mean, this next one. I would not expect a cutter from that.
That's pretty solid. Good. You know, but that's all set up, a great disguise, but also set up by the set's worth of cut deep overheads.
Great ball. You know, we a lot of times notice patterns, Mike, of partnerships where there's one person that's the primary overhead taker, you know, and then the person on the right who's primary drive stopper. It seems like, you know, Rose and McKnight equally share their responsibilities with both of those and feel comfortable. And they hit devastating shots from both positions, so that's a huge plus. It's kind of interesting now. Have we seen a roller from McKnight, Rose, where they're pretty much always cutting the ball to different degrees and paces?
I would say you'll see Rose hit a two-handed roller, but they both hit primarily cut overheads.
Yes, that's right. I did see a couple backhands.
Yeah.
Backhand roller, yep.
But, you know, and this isn't a knock on McKnight, but his forehand is not his strength. And so he doesn't have, kind of mechanically doesn't have that. You know, I'm sure he can do it, but it's not his.
That's probably
push comes to shove.
Right, and why when that carve is just so effective.
You notice.
Interesting.
Little cut forehand instead of.
both of their backhands are so compact, McKnight and Rose.
Oh, good try there from Jay Woldenberg. And that is game and first set 6-love to McKnight and Rose. We'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by CSM Media.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Want to see how Volley can transform training at your club? We've got a great offer for you. Gather 30 of your club friends and you'll get a free 30-day trial of Volley. Experience firsthand how Volley's trainer can help everyone improve. Increase reps and track your progress, all while training smarter. Don't miss out. Visit getvolley.com and unlock your club's full potential with a 30-day free trial.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're here at the Birchwood Open in Highland Park, Illinois, with this quarterfinal match between McKnight and Rose and Levine and Woldenberg. I'm Mike Raleigh, alongside Denise Murphy. Denise, in my picture, I'm a little better dressed than you, but, you're a lot prettier than I am.
You're way better
I had to step things up.
You're pretty, Mike.
I've never been accused of that.
Yeah, so the first set, 6-0, kind of a surprise. But I feel like the big factor that you mentioned straight away was the two-handed backhands from both Rose and McKnight. At the baseline is a big difference maker, and at the net, both of their cut overheads are just really, they're mixing up the pace of them, the placement, but the contact is so low. We've seen at least 4 or 5 straight-up winners that actually hit the snowboard, which is not easy to do on a 30-something degree day. So kudos to their setups and their really effective shot selection.
And then it goes into deception, or not deception, but, from the same setup, same swing, they're hitting 2 to 3 different overheads, and so that level of, we've talked a lot about in the previous match too. Those backcourt players just are never comfortable when Ben and Paul are hitting overheads. They see that cutter coming, and they don't know whether it's going to be the slash, or is it going to be a cut drop, or just a nice smooth reset like that.
Yeah, creates a lot of instability in the baseline team. Great take by Levine in the red sweatshirt. Got Jay Woldenberg in the blue, his partner at the net. Bag McKnight crushing his two-handed backhand right there, and partner Paul Rose in the deuce side.
This is one of the longer points where we're starting to see, that dump to McKnight's forehand, and they need a steady diet of that. That's a great point.
That's a really good point.
Just gotta rinse, wash, and repeat that. Make that happen another 24 times.
That's
We're
it?
into the third set. Yeah, we're going to be into the third set.
waiting for the right one. To your point, the setup is we go vanilla, 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 and then we're going to bump it up a notch.
You go.
I think it's definitely the longer the point. I think Woldenberg and Levine just are, you know, it favors them. It's a good play to just be a little more patient, put up one more lob if you're not exactly liking what you're receiving. There's no need to rush or pull the trigger on something. And they're starting off the second set much cleaner.
Well, I think their length of point is a great indicator, but also you pay attention to where Ben and Paul are hitting the majority of their overheads from. You know, you see them, their strike points with their feet are a little bit deeper in the court. Because as soon as they're throwing in that shallow lob, that's where the slicing and dicing is coming out.
I loved how McKnight stayed up, knowing his partner was going to hit that ball low, so they can maintain the net.
Go get it.
Boy, they're just
Great point.
grinding, grinding, grinding.
Yep. Mike, I was hoping you could tell everybody about the awesome team nationals that you lead
Oh,
and
man.
organize.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about that and how much darn fun it is, both inside the wires and outside the wires. So tell us a little bit
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
about as much fun as you can have with your shoes on. I mean, you know.
Jeez. Okay.
There's, you know, it's a six to plus team members of similar PTIs, with kind of within a band of 10 to 15 PTI points. Do not have to be team members from the same club, region, anything. Men will be in the Chicagoland area. We're hosting this year. Last year they were in New Jersey. And the women were here last year, but they're moving out to every year. We flip-flop. Patty Hogan and Greg Morgan run the show out there in Jersey. And the event is such a, like you said, it's a girls' weekend. It's a guys' weekend with really good paddle, but also boatloads of fun and camaraderie. 3 matches on Saturday. 1 guaranteed match for every team on Sunday, best of our ability. And everybody's playing for a national title
Yeah.
at every level. I think we were 65 PTIs. One of the divisions was a 65 to 70 last year. And, you know, I've heard rumors that this year we will even be having a super league with Graham McNerney has a team that's coming.
Ooh.
And, you know, so I think it really runs the gamut from, you know, what is arguably some of the best in the country to, you know, 70 PTI players. So sign up goes live on Monday.
Yeah, highly recommend. I popped into the women's last year, and it was just, I mean, just so much fun. And I don't know, you guys do a fantastic job organizing and just putting on such a great party for everybody. And I know just it's across the board, just really great feedback. So kudos to you and Patty and Greg for putting that on and continuing to do so. Highly recommend. 2 thumbs up.
Boy, this is more of what I had expected from the onset.
Yes.
You know, but I truly think that Waldenberg and Levine have settled in a little bit. And, you know, it's they're up 2 love here. Trying to solidify the break.
It doesn't happen unless you're right on top of the net.
Trash goes over when you're right on top of the net.
Kudos to Levine for stepping up. I mean, look at how close, that both of them, they knew it was coming. Great positioning by
It's a good
Woldenberg
lesson
and
for
Levine.
everybody. You know, it's almost counterintuitive. It's you
Yes.
see a drive coming and you actually are stepping forward.
It's like you got to walk into the fire.
Yeah, it's like a fireman running towards the fire when everybody else is running away from it.
Yep.
You go. You go.
But yeah, so Woldenberg and Levine's, you know, I'm sure after the first set, you know, when you get your clock clean 6-0, it's like, okay, let's dissect this. Let's pick up on patterns. Let's clean up some of the unforced errors. Let's just be a little more patient and perhaps just understanding what maybe the patterns are. And just when you start to anticipate better, Mike, as you know, your position, you get there ahead of time, which means your balance, which your rate of execution is going to go up inherently. So I think they're doing just that.
I think they're lobbing better as well.
Yes.
You know, it's daunting when you've got two great slashes coming at you when you're throwing in shorter lobs. And I tell you, Levine it's really picked up his game. He's asserting himself a little bit more.
Yes. I feel like Mike in the first set, he was pulling the trigger on a lot of drives, maybe perhaps moving parallel to the baseline, not in, you know, imposing himself and coming into the court when he's hitting a drive. And now he's just hitting and taking that ball on the rise and moving
Would you say
it.
that's a shot selection? He's choosing better balls that are allowing him to move in?
Yes, I would say so. My guess is he's getting a little more choosy, but he's also picked up on some patterns and able to anticipate instead of what we spoke of earlier of being more reactive.
And if you're lobbing better, it also
Yep,
is
it all comes together.
amazing, right? We lob
Chicken
to
or
drive.
the egg.
We lob in order to drive, and we see that their lobs have gotten a little bit better, and lo and behold, he's able to step forward to drive.
Again, that was a drive that was just not able to move into and flies long.
And even if he makes it, McKnight wasn't, nor Rose were not in any sort of distress or off the net. So it's kind of, you know, even though you can drive it, should you be driving that ball?
Right. It's a great return by Levine. He's definitely feeling it now. There's a different energy.
Yeah.
Ben just steps around his forehand, take a two-handed backhand.
You heard Waldenberg say, my fault.
Yep.
Ball drifted a little bit too much in the no-go zone.
Mike, I was just looking at the scores here at the women's quarterfinals. Von Kennel and Melenkoff took out Blinn and Sorry.
Billmeyer.
Yes, thank you. I'm like, where'd my brain just go? But that's obviously an upset. Blinn and Billmeyer were second seeds. Billmeyer, isn't she a member at your club?
She is. She
at
is.
Exmoor? Yeah. Three-set match. That was a grind. Great dig by Woldenberg over there.
And one of Jay's strengths is really working. You know, he really uses the lob as a tool, and he's settled in as well. You know, we saw in the first set he missed, I think, 3 lobs long, which, you know, he doesn't do that in a season usually. So he's settled in as well here. Oh.
Just a devastating two-handed backhand. I would not want to be on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Especially when it's short in the box. He's just coming in behind it. You don't have much time to
And I mean, I think
react.
Daniel is relatively new to the game of paddle. He's got a great, you know, he's a great collegiate tennis player and junior tennis player, and you still saw the initial "I'm going to stay up," where I think with just a little bit more experience,
Yep.
he sees that first volley going short, and he's out like a bad tooth.
Yep.
There's no way
I'd be peeling.
I'm not playing that ball off the back screen. And that's the beauty of having the screens behind you. You know, in tennis, the ball goes by your toes, but
Yep.
here it's just a transition.
Such a good take by McKnight, moving around again his forehand, take that two-hander.
It's a big game here for Jay, and
Yep.
it's a slippery slope.
I like Waldenberg just coming back, talking to Levine a little bit, just words of encouragement or reinforcing his strategy. I love that, just touching base before a big point, slowing everything down just a little bit.
Some would say that Jay does that a little too often, but I'm glad you're in his corner. But now would be the time, to your point, absolutely perfect time.
Here it comes. That's a great opportunity. That was a good look by McKnight.
Anytime you see your partner going or your opponent going to a high
High
backhand overhead,
backhand behind them, yes.
Yep.
Fly in all day long.
Stevie Wonder could blitz in behind that. And you know, the lesson there is we shouldn't be hitting high backhand overheads.
Exactly right. But missing wide overheads, Mike, and high backhand overheads, two
Major no-nos.
Major pet peeves.
How well
Just
spotted was
tattooed.
that?
Just a big ball. That was a big game. All right, little word from our sponsor, Corient. Corient is excited to partner with the APTA because, whether as advisors to our members or as members themselves, they are already part of the APTA community. Learn more at www.corient.com, the official wealth sponsor of the APTA. All right, like we said before, Mike, this is more of the match we were expecting here in the second set. First set went by, we blinked and it was over. Second set, this much longer points. Players are making smarter choices, executing their shots, better quality lobs, etc., which inherently they, like Rose and McKnight, I don't think have hit a slash winner yet because the quality lobs that just have pushed them back into an area where they're not able to pull the trigger on that shot. And Levine is just really feeling it. He's moving into his drives. He's just constantly hunting over there on the ad side, and Woldenberg's doing a great job of setting him up with his quality lob. So we got ourselves a match here. 2-3, McKnight Rose are up. Or excuse me, 2-3, they're down against Levine and Woldenberg.
like to see Levine start working that lob a little bit more down the line. Getting McKnight in this setup to move back to hit his overhead. That was a great play.
Wow.
That is such a typical Jay Woldenberg shot.
A little block
and
chip there.
Yeah, a little block chip when he catches you hanging off the net.
It's fun calling this match here with you, Mike. It's good to be, you know, in the local hood, and Allison and Adam Morgan have done such a great job here as co-directors at Birchwood Club, putting this tournament together year after year. And I know they've got a village of people working with them and making this happen. But you know, hats off to Allison and Adam. It's not easy. Number one, organizing this, and number two, pulling this off. And they're both, you know, one
and then
seeds.
going deep in the tournament.
Yeah, they're playing, and they're wearing a gazillion hats right now, and they're doing it beautifully.
I think the other thing too is in making sure that we thank not only the volunteers, the HUD commanders, and all that, but also the clubs that are,
Yes.
you know, donating their spaces and courts. And you know, in a lot of respects, it's displacing membership in order to host a tournament. But the reality is, without the clubs, without the use of the courts, you know, tournaments like this and team nationals, and you know, every tournament. And as the game continues to grow, it's putting more and more pressure on the clubs. And so, from one tournament director to all the clubs, I appreciate them graciously giving up the weekend courts for a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, see. He had to intercept that.
Yeah, there was no way.
It's just so good. And notice how he steps in. I just love this. He looks like I would say like a baseball pitcher, just leaning into that. So good.
Just like that, we're back
Boom.
at 3-all.
So, Mike, next weekend we've got the last Grand Prix of the season at Short Hills, February 8th and 9th at Short Hills, New Jersey, followed by the Steel City Classic in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, February 15th and 16th. Then we jump to Indianapolis Open in Indianapolis, Indiana, and then, boom, APTA Men's and Women's Nationals.
The new format.
New format, yep, starting on Thursday, March 6th, and at 1 o'clock, I believe, and it finishes Saturday night under the lights with the men's and women's finals, which I just love how they've switched up the format there, and it just created, it's just going to be such a fun celebration party atmosphere, sitting around watching the finals Saturday night, and then Sunday is just set aside in case there's any rain delays or weather-related issues. So I actually am a big fan of the switch. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a great idea from a fan perspective. It really is culminating with the biggest, the biggest night of a tournament is generally on Saturday when, and whether it's quarterfinals or semifinals. And instead of it culminating with the finals with half the crowd, we're going to be having the largest crowds for the biggest matches.
Yeah. Great cutter by Rose.
And it's hard to commit to chase the run forward. And you see Levine has to wait and see what truly what overhead's going to hit, or he commits one way or the other. And anytime you're guessing on that, you're always a half step slower.
It's great footwork by Levine. He's just kind of He's moving really, really well in the court right now, just seeing it. Tough get by Woldenberg.
You go, you go, you go. I go.
I love the early communication in the middle at the baseline. Just the earlier you know who's taking it, the better for both players.
It's a good lob.
That was the one he was looking for.
That's the right ball.
Yep,
the right
it was.
ball. And that was the lob I'd like to see Levine hitting more. You know, the ball more down
Yes,
that single
down.
sideline.
Yep.
And I think he's feeling a little more comfortable in the backcourt. So if we get word to him that Coach Mike says, give me a little better lob down the line into the single sideline there.
He's mic'd up, didn't we? Didn't we tell our fans? The people watching. Yeah, he wants that back. That's the first one I think McKnight's missed.
Second, he missed one in the first point. I think first 2 points of this first set.
You're like a steel trap, Mike.
You know what?
I love it.
Sometimes can't remember my name, but missed cutters. That's my jam.
That's your jam.
You want to know how many I've missed? 72,463, I think it is, as of yesterday. Love it.
That's a great spot. Again, look how he just was moving into the court after he hit that ball.
He said, I've seen enough of your two-handers. Check mine out.
Yeah.
Show you yours, he show me mine.
This is the important seventh game, Mike.
And I like, and
There
I
you
think
go.
that's the first time that we saw some sort of different formation at the net. I can't remember if I've seen it thus far, but I'd like to see it when Rose is hitting his return too, because just don't want to kind of open the door and let him walk through and just take the net over.
Right. All right, Ben McKnight is serving. His partner Paul Rose at the nets. Jay Woldenberg in the blue is be heading over, returning from the deuce side. And of course, Daniel Levine in the ad, in the red. Here we go.
Good lob.
That's a great lob. Again, really good read by Levine, seeing the instability that was created by Waldenberg's lob. Takes a few steps in, boom, he's able to jump on that weak reply.
And I think another lesson there too is in that transition game, we saw McKnight drive a ball that it might have been drivable, but he and Rose were still, to use your, they weren't stable.
Yeah.
They hadn't reset the points, and an error drive into the net came out of that.
It's a great overhead by Waldenberg. He was peeling back. We just got a nice close-up of Levine. How old is he?
I'm
Do we know?
betting about 25. I think he was at
He's as old
Carnegie
as my
Mellon.
son.
He was at Carnegie Mellon in 2019, I know.
Okay. So good.
Woo.
That setup is just so hard to read because it's exactly the same. It just depends how he's coming through the ball. Wow.
Love that. Love
There
that.
he goes. Yep, he's got to do more of that. I like it.
Boy, and to be able to hit that good of a volley
I mean,
from below net level, that's
yeah.
high-level stuff there. But I do find in those exchanges that the aggressor, and it's true in tennis too, that, you know, those quick exchanges, the aggressor generally wins those exchanges. And you saw how he kept pressing forward.
Yep.
I think that this is an area of growth that we'll see for Levine. You know, that bigger points don't mean bigger shots,
Yep.
right? And you see the best players, if anything, they choose wisely in those, what I'd call those key points.
Yeah. Especially off of, you know, that blitzing point he had was just awesome. He just kept going. He probably has added adrenaline after that. So that's when he just needs to breathe and just reset and be like, okay, going right back to the drawing board here. We're going to stick with our game plan. We're going to grind it out and get picky and make really good choices with our targets when we're driving. I thought he was going to drop right there, Mike.
I think he was listening to you. He was a little off balance. Made the right choice.
It's a great, again, another great point.
And I think this is, you know, a real hard thing for, I mean, McKnight and Rose, one of the things that they are, you know, so good at is their willingness to grind. They won't give you a lot for free. Very disciplined, and you know they're waiting for their right shots. You can see their scheme at the net here is primarily to Jay's backhand, and then every once in a while they'll dump a ball into Levine's corner. Levine needs to stay the course, wait for his absolutely perfect ball to hit.
I mean, you mentioned it earlier, Mike. It's just, you know, knowing what your role is with your team mate, and Woldenberg is just doing a really good job with his lobs. Just keeping them further off the net, which is leading to these much longer points, which is giving Levine just more looks, and he's being way more disciplined in which balls he's choosing to strike and which one he's not. Who's going to win this point, Mike?
I'm going to say a luck cord winner for McKnight Rose.
Nice.
We'll see Jay Waldenberg.
Oh,
a crease winner instead.
Crease winner. 4-all. That's tough. I mean, if that's what you need to hit to get it to end the point, that's a solid, solid match right here. All four players just playing really well.
Careful, careful.
Yep.
All set. One backhand feels the next backhand.
Yep.
So I'd like to see here maybe a little different service formation from Levine and Woldenberg, but wow,
Gosh,
some good hands.
4 solid two-handers in a row.
See, and that's what they need more of that,
Yep.
where they're getting McKnight to hit forehands.
Great volleys. Really good defense. Great get by Waldenberg. Awesome drive by Rose. I like the words of encouragement by Woldenberg. Always love hearing that. Your partner in a good mind space.
No.
Boy, that takes us to 5-4. McKnight
Yep.
Rose be serving for the match here.
Just a couple loose points. It's the factor in the second set, Mike, you know?
Yeah, it is an amazing thing how we can be playing for the last 50 minutes here in the second set, and it comes down to one or two, a faulty or missed forehand volley.
Yep. All right, so Mike, if you are Woldenberg, Levine, what do you think? They're down 4-5 after losing the first set 6-0.
And as a coach, what would I say?
Yeah, or no, if you're them, like if you are playing, which is probably the same thing.
Yeah,
actually.
I really would. I like how they've settled in here in the
Yeah.
second set, and if they can get a break here, I would say they've got to do some different, formations at the net when they're serving. And I think with Levine, he is settling in, and I think the key is just to stay the course there, and for them to be patient until he gets the right balls. I mean, Jay's going to be Jay.
Wow. Great shot and great get by Rose. Where's that? Wait, is that McKnight over there?
That's McKnight and the deuce side. Yeah, they got switched up.
Switched up.
Boy, I'm getting tired just watching him close that much. He's working hard.
Yes.
Oh, to be young. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Love is in the house. He's getting ready for his.
Let's go.
Speaking of Jason Love, I mean, he's
a love
will
man.
be in the house for the next live streaming. Which I believe will be the women's semifinals coming up after this.
Got it.
And then the men's semifinals following that.
He's been just sitting at home drinking Red Bulls in his basement.
Just getting ready.
Ah. Obviously a must-win game for Levine and Woldenberg here. See, that's to your point, Mike. That's McKnight just peeling to his right. To
Yep, they knew
give
what
that
was
runway.
coming, and
Yep. Great dig by Woldenberg. Just gets his paddle so low, so early.
yeah. So Denise, the plan for the live streaming will be not before 4:30, our women's semifinals, and then not before 6 p.m. the men's semifinals, and then tomorrow, women's final will be 9 a.m. Central Time, and then the men's final to be following after that.
Sounds like an awesome lineup, Mike.
I mean, you know, I couldn't think of a better way to spend the weekend.
All right, big return here by
I'd
Woldenberg.
like to see
Let's
Levine blitz here.
I know. Yeah, I think he needs to continue to assert himself. Levine just needs to keep moving. He's at his best when he's just hunting and moving forward. Creates a lot of chaos. So that one he wasn't able to move into. I probably would have passed on that, waited for a better look. Just because historically the ones he's making, those drives that are so devastating, Levine's moving in. He's attacking the ball instead of the ball letting him play him.
Boy, I love how you watch Woldenberg play that low screen. He just sets the paddle early. And then there's no place to go but up with the...
So smart.
Man, Rose is just dealing there, wasn't he?
Yes. It's like a little puppeteer.
Making him dance.
Yep.
Takes us to match, game, set, and match. McKnight and Rose, 6-love, 6-4.
Really
What?
good stuff.
You know, Denise, it turned into a good second set. They got their,
Did?
you know, you got one of your final thoughts there.
I think Woldenberg and Levine did a great job of settling in. They lengthened out the points in that second set. Levine was definitely feeling it. He was moving well and applying a lot of pressure, but at the end of the day, McKnight and Rose
Want to see how volley can transform training?
Yeah, yeah.
for them. So it was a great match, and good luck to McKnight and Rose going forward.
Moving into the semifinals. And
Yep.
speaking of which, we have our women's semifinals coming up shortly. So, you know, if you're at home, go take a quick walkabout, grab your favorite beverage, and the CSM crew will bring us back shortly here. Jason
Excellent.
Love will be on the mic. And Denise, are you on as well?
I am
Man, oh
on.
man.
I know. Let's
I'm
go.
jealous. I'm jealous. Two of my favorite people here. I'm
Hey,
Mike
you're welcome to
Raleigh
stay.
with Denise Murphy. And that is a wrap for our men's quarterfinals, and we will be back on here shortly.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Mike.
All right, take care.
Want to see how volley can transform training at your club? We've got a great offer for you. Gather 30 of your club friends, and you'll get a free 30-day trial of volley. Experience firsthand how volley's trainer can help everyone improve. Increase reps and track your progress, all while training smarter. Don't miss out. Visit getvolley.com and unlock your club's full potential with a 30-day free trial.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. and our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.